Okay, hello everyone. I've got to check all the things here and make sure that we have sound and that we're actually broadcasting. And it looks like we do. I apologize. You are probably going to be able to hear all the various fans that I have running because for whatever reason, it is hot today on election day. At least I am. I know it's supposed to be in like the 40s or whatever. And so, voted today in Miamisburg. And it was really interesting um, where I where I was at. Um, Once you got inside, I actually had a countdown going on my phone to see how long it took me. It took me roughly 22 minutes just to go through the process of once I got inside. The line wasn't long enough that it was going all the way out the building. Once I got inside, it took roughly 22 minutes to get through the process. Um, and it honestly, it would not have even really taken that long. But at the polling station in Miamisburg, I guess when they opened this morning, they were pretty busy. And rather than getting some of the digital stations set up, it was quicker to just get all the paper ballots set up, which I mean is fine. But so they had like 9 paper ballot stations set up, and they only had 4 of the digital booths set up, and then they had 2 places set up for you to turn in your digital ballot. But I guess when they opened this morning, they were so busy that one of the poll workers told me is that it was quicker to get the paper ballot stations set up than the digital stations. And so they prioritized those to kind of get the line moving. But when I was there, I think it might have been around 11ish. When I was there was more people that were wanting to use the digital stations than the paper ballots. And so once you got inside the doors, fortunately at that time the line wasn't like at the door. Um, but I don't really know what's going to happen once people get out of work. Now midday there, um, there's not that many people really. Um, so I think that'll be interesting to see what happens there. I am really hopeful for the amendments that they have on the state constitution, because I'm really hoping that Ohioans will come out and vote for those. Vote for not allowing people who aren't U.S. citizens to be able to vote in local elections. I'm surprised that that's something that has to be a thing, but uh, apparently it's a thing. So okay, um, but yeah. So that, there's that, and then there is also giving judges the power that they need um, in in order to vote appropriately, or to vote appropriately, and in order to keep people who need to be behind bars, and making it more difficult for them to to get bail. So they consider things like, this person's history, what kind of general threat they could be to the community, things like that. And of course, there are activists saying, well, this is disproportionately going to affect people of color. And as a white person, I don't feel like I can really speak to that, but it just kind of makes sense. If you're gonna have cash bail, but if you're dealing with someone who is accused of committing a violent crime, you don't know if they might be a flight risk. You want to have questions about whether or not they might show up to court. You're not gonna want to make it easy for that person, who is still innocent until proven guilty, um, to get off scot free. And in some Democrat cities, there is a complaints about it being way too easy for some criminals that shouldn't be allowed bail to get bail. So I think it's a good thing, but not everyone agrees. Just gotta respond to something here. As always, anyone who wants to, I'm making sure people know on some of the other platforms here that anybody who wants to um, can join me. Um, so let's take a look here exactly what is going on. Twitter right now is saying about the current state of the elections, particularly in Ohio. Let's see what's going on. Oh, but I do want to say something else about the polling stations. I wish now that they had gotten them on up and running, that they had enough workers to maybe start getting some more of the digital ones set up, because most people were not wanting to use paper ballots. They were wanting to use the digital ballots. But it looked like most people were not wanting to do, but it just looked like most people were not wanting to use the paper ballots. But I guess they didn't have, I don't think that they had enough workers to do that. When you go there, you'll notice at each station where you go to give them the ID, um, they have at least two people at each one of those. And I guess maybe they have to. I don't know. Maybe it has to be set up that way. And then when you are standing in line, they have one worker at the front of the line and one worker at the back of the line, and then they have to have another worker where you turn your ballot in. Um, and I guess maybe it just takes too many. It's just too big of a process to get more of those digital ones set up, and they just didn't have enough people. But they really needed more, and I just think that it'll be interesting to see. Um, what happens there. But I want to see. We don't have much time here before I have to start getting ready for work. It's already 1:30. I'm gonna see if at least my mother might make it. This is one of the few times I've ever streamed to Facebook, and I'm gonna see if Mama Rinraw is gonna show up and be like, "What are you doing?" I think that would be funny if she showed up. I decided to not bother with Rumble today. Just because it's a whole thing with getting set up with Rumble. For those of you that don't know, um, there's this whole thing that you gotta have a preview, some kind of preview video set up, and sometimes that can take a little bit to do. But we got some comments here from Twitter, and it's looking like at least one of them is gonna kind of say the same thing that I was saying. So let's get that pulled up here. So as you can see there, you can say my polling place in Clintonville this morning was very busy, and I waited 20 minutes to vote. That's roughly how much time I waited. I waited about 22, 23 minutes. I requested a paper ballot to get through the line faster. Yep. Probably saving myself another 20 minutes. I've never waited before. I am now predicting 100% turnout in Ohio. Parity. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I mean, that's probably not gonna happen. You're probably not gonna have 100% uh, turnout in Ohio. Glad that he clarified that he was joking, because he was gonna have people being like, "Are you insane?" So I think that I'm pretty sure Clintonville is a very small town. So yeah, there's probably people that are not used to really waiting. So here's something here. What time was this posted? Low election turnout historically felt success for Ohio Republicans gubernatorial candidates. So I guess this person is. Oh, okay. Mike DeWine, Bucks State Ohio transfer got gubernatorial candidate in his 2018 victory, secured victory even with high voter turnout. So maybe that's saying that Mike DeWine will win, even though Mike DeWine, I voted for you. It's not because I like you. Not because I like you. Uh, there are some things that I think that Nan Whaley could have as a plus side for her potentially in the election. There are more people probably than ever before. Who are probably more than ever before, who have probably um, have moved, and within the downtown area, there's a lot of lofts that have gone up, that I think that probably primarily took place while she was in office. Um, it may have started before she got elected, but it has continued under her leadership. And more people moving into the downtown area is a plus for Dayton. they moved there despite the fact that she is mayor. So, I mean, if to me that's something that she should probably focus on as a strength. And under her, you have seen the riverfront become a thing. Under her, the baseball stadium has still been a success. It's like there's certain things that you can't really lay blame on her for, but I don't know for sure how much credit she deserves for the fact that it hasn't gone south either. I do know that under her leadership, someone finally stepped forward to save the historic arcade in downtown Dayton. So that happened during her term, but I think the real issue really is, did she play any real role in that being a success? Because it took a long time to find anyone to really step forward and save the arcade. I don't know if she really was able to do anything behind the scenes to kind of facilitate that and make that a reality. But the big issue some of the issue is support for the police. Um, Businesses still overall haven't. I don't know if they've really thrived in downtown Dayton much under hers. But see, the thing of it is that people like me don't even really spend a lot of time in downtown Dayton. If you're not a big drinker, one of the biggest draws is the Oregon district. But if you're not a big drinker, or you don't like just don't like driving in downtown Dayton, then you're not gonna go down there. Um, I used to be in downtown Dayton quite a bit, but I haven't been hardly down there at all in probably maybe over a year. But at the same time, when they have certain events along the river, that she oversaw at least part of that construction, that's jammed packed. So there might be certain things that she should probably try and leverage and say, hey, under me, the baseball stadium has thrived. We've had more people move into lofts. We've had X, Y, just those type of things. But I don't think people are happy when it comes to things like crime. I don't know if they're really happy with things that she said about COVID. And for some people, that still kind of looms large in their minds. So basically, I'm hoping that people find her just cringe-worthy enough that they're not going to vote for her. But it will. We'll kind of see what happens. We'll see what happens. Tim Ryan, we're going to win this race. We're going to flip Ohio blue. We're going to span the Democrat and Senate majority, and we're going to do it because of votes like you. We'll see. We'll see. I'm wondering if the fact that Trump decided to hold a rally the night before election, I'm wondering what that says about how close things might be um, in the Republican races for office. Was it interesting timing there? He did choose Ohio as the place to announce that next week he is going to be making a huge announcement from Mar-a-Lago, and that's probably going to be his announcement about his decision to run for the election. Um, One commentator on YouTube said that according to our insiders, he had actually planned on announcing either tonight or tomorrow night. But they decided to push it back because they think that there are some races that they may not know the outcome of until possibly Thursday because of all the ballots that need to be counted. And I have something really cool I want to show you guys. I'll be right back. So there's this sandwich shop called Mrs. Pickles. Um, this sadly is going to be closing on the 11th. But over the last 11 years that she's been in business, the restaurant has kind of become a fixture. But they're having health issues, and this is what she is famous for. Does that not look super delicious? I wanted to make sure that I stopped in sometime this week to kind of say farewell and order my one last pickle sandwich. Go take a bite of this. Oh, so good. Oh, we should have a napkin. So good. We're like, we don't want to watch you eat, but I wanted to share that with you all, so there you go. I don't really think that there's much to show at this point. Let's go to see what. Let's compare Fox News and CNN is reporting so far on the election. They're not going to have much to say, obviously. About possible results until later in the evening. I wish I wasn't going to be at work for that, but it is what it is. So, I mean, they do have a ticker here that's giving some interesting updates. Let's zoom in on that. We got that going already. Polls close in 4 hours in some places. It's interesting to have that up already because, as you see, it's like they're not really giving you anything. If you go to their website, of course, you're gonna have the option to watch live. But we don't really want to do that. Abrams delivers election day message as Georgians head to the polls to select their next governor. Fact checkers trip into Biden right before midterms. That's kind of surprising. It's not something you really expect to see. Yes, it is Pennsylvania. It was Pennsylvania that they're worried about. So let's go ahead and read what they're saying about this. Pennsylvania ballot fight could drag on after Election Day. Thousands of votes in limo. But we have perfect elections, everyone. This is for the YouTube centers. We have perfect elections. Perfect. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. We're just reading an article, explaining what they say. Legal fights. The legal fight in Pennsylvania over mail-in ballots with missing or incorrect dates could drag on for weeks after Election Day, forcing courts to make the final decisions on whether thousands of votes can be counted. OMG. Oh, goodness. You know, it's a good name that I do not drink because I would need something a lot stronger than just pickle. This is going to become like a thing, like every election. You know? Gotta watch my time here, it's 1:49. The battle is playing out in both state and federal courts against the backdrop of a very close U.S. Senate race that may decide control of the upper chamber. On one side are Democrat officials and activist groups who want to allow mail-in votes to count despite minor errors. I mean, I guess it's going to kind of depend on your definition of a minor error. I mean, do we need to be hard nosed about things and say, oh, you have any kind of error at all, and that's it? I'm muting myself. Let me check here. Are you still not hearing me, Riddle? Maybe I can't make myself invisible without losing sound. That might be. I was trying to keep myself invisible because I'm eating from a local sandwich shop, but apparently I can't do that. So I'm gonna do this instead. There. I didn't want you to hear me eating. But check it out. It's from a place called Mrs. Pickles. And they're sadly going to be closing. So I guess you're just gonna have to hear me eat and see me eat. I didn't have much time. So great, now I know much of this you didn't hear. So apparently all this time you were not able to hear me. So there's Democrats are filing lawsuits over what they consider a significant number of ballots that could not because there are date issues on them. But my question is whether or not 2,300 in one county and in Philadelphia and then 1,000 in Allen County is. I have questions about whether or not that should be considered significant. In order to not be significant, should it just be like 5 votes? So they want to aim voters the opportunity to fix them, but what if that vote is right to begin with? And I don't understand what it is that Democrats want to challenge, because there should be some kind of limit, some kind of cutoff time. And I say go by, if it was mailed in, I say go by the. No. So let's see why they say this is significant. So these two counties make up just over 1/5 of Pennsylvania's population. Assuming similar rates of ballots issue as well, the total number of deficient ballots could potentially exceed 10,000, approach 15,000 or more. I mean, maybe that's significant, but you gotta remember, it is believed that it is mostly Democrats who do voting. So, Democrats. Oh, you are welcome for the sub. I was happy to do it. I appreciate your loyalty, so I was more than happy to subscribe. And you better come on with me sometime. You better come on with me sometime since you're in my chat so much. We have pretty decent viewings here on the YouTube. So if you have not yet liked, shared, subscribed, please do so. And feel free to leave a comment and let me know where you're watching from. All right. So I mean, I suppose if you're talking about 10,000, 15,000 or more, then yeah, I guess that could be pretty significant. But again, their main concern is some some insulation. Oh, insulation work sounds fun. Yeah. God, you're such a distraction. People are gonna be like, I don't want to watch you eat. You gotta get through this article because I need to get ready for it. ACLU argues loudly that this quality of voter is based on minor errors like incorrect or missing dates or on the foul of the Civil Rights Act, does it? That's interesting. The law, they said, makes it illegal to not count votes based on paperwork with dates not material to whether a voter is eligible. But dates are material to whether, because if you're talking about, cutoff dates for when a vote can be cast, then that is material. There is a certain amount of common sense that says these voters should count. Our Street Institute resident elections fellows Matthew Carter told Fox News Digital, "A ballot arrives in advance of election day. It's pretty clear to me that at least that balance should be counted." I mean, fair, fair. Carter said it is possible court cases related to Pennsylvania's elections continue for days or weeks after election day and potentially could make it to the Supreme Court. However, he argued that that's not necessarily a bad thing, and that it's likely the courts will come to a conclusion well before results legally must be certified. I would expect the first kind of ruling within a week, and then if there are any appeals that can move forward from there, that it jumps to the top of the docket for almost the court that's going to be handling it. Excuse me. Colonel Halson noted that the state's U.S. Senate race between Fonderman and Oz is not close. The sequential ballots may not matter at all. True. True. So, are they just going to drop the lawsuit if it's not that close? Well, it's not going to matter. It's not going to make a difference. So, let's just say, I don't know. Interesting. Meanwhile, Pennsylvania Acting Secretary of State Lee Chapman is asking counties to go through mail-in ballots and report to the state how many had missing or incorrect dates. She also said she wants counties reach out to and help voters who made mistakes to fix them. I wonder how much it costs. Honestly, how do you even make mistakes on the mail-in ballot? Like, and when we're talking about errors such as with the date, did they put 2021 on there instead of 2022? I mean, that's possible. I just don't think mail-in ballots are really that hard to fill out. It is a safe mark suspicion that voters who make, minor errors on their ballot, if they forget to cite it, if they forget to date it, they should be able to get their county to fix that issue, Chapman said Monday. I mean, I suppose that's nice of them to be willing to do that. I'm just wondering if they would care if their concern wasn't that mail-in ballots historically lean Democrat. However, Republicans argue that scheme argue that scheme violates state law, which they says require mail ballots to be stored in secure locations until officials are allowed to start processing them at 7 a.m. on election day. Montgomery County GOP, with backings from King, sued the Monroe County Board of Elections over that last week. A judge Monday ruled against the GOP request for preliminary injunction against the county. He said where election law is unclear, it should be interpreted in a way that avoids disenfranchising people. Given that our Supreme Court's policy has been to enfranchise the voter when interpreting ambiguous statutes, I find that NCRC has not shown a strong likelihood of success at this very early stage of litigation, wrote Monroe County Court of Common Pleas Judge Arthur L. Zulik. He said after ruling came down that the GOP would wait until after election results come in before deciding how to move forward on the legal issues. He said it is a basis upon which to challenge votes if it's appropriate. In the event of close elections, there will be numerous challenges across the state of Pennsylvania to any of these ballots that were processed in this way. Well, at least I guess Republicans are not the ones filing the large amount of election lawsuit challenges. And again, YouTube and Facebook, our elections are perfect. There are no issues. None whatsoever. This is interesting. The Samsung bans DOJ from putting certain monitors inside polling stations. I was hearing something about this earlier. There was something somewhere in... I don't know if it was Missouri. They were wanting to do something similar. So that doesn't... I guess I feel like that it could... The presence of federal law enforcement inside a polling place would be counterproductive and could potentially undermine confidence in the election.
What does Greg Landsman do when he's not defunding the police? Raise your taxes. On the city
I want to
council.
listen to you. Wondering if it's gonna mention that this is not the only state that encountered this. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Let's so. The Georgia announced that it will deploy poll watchers. That announced that it will deploy poll watchers is in keeping with the department's standard procedure every election year, but with a noticeable uptick in the number of covered jurisdictions this year. The Trump-era Dodge deployed monitors in 2018 to 25 jurisdictions and 2020 to 44 jurisdictions. During Obama's last term in 2016, DOJ monitors sent to 67 jurisdictions. So let me get this straight. Republicans are the ones that are so concerned, or Democrats are the ones that they insist that, our elections are fair. Our elections are so fair. But we're going to send out the most election monitors. Seriously? Seriously? The job says the monitor's enforced focus will be to enforce the civil provisions of federal statutes that protect the right to vote, including the Voting Rights Act, the Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Act, the National Voter Registration Act, the Help America Vote Act, and the Civil Rights Act. I mean, I suppose if, sadly, our idiot lawmakers are going to pass all these laws that we may or may not actually need, then I suppose it makes sense that they're going to have people making sure that those laws are being upheld. The Division's Disability Rights Section enforces the Americans with Disabilities Act, which that persons with disabilities have full and equal opportunity to vote. The Division's Criminal Section will enforce federal criminal statutes that prohibit voter intimidation and voter suppression based on race, color, national origin, or religion. McVeigh added in his letter that Dodge has failed to detail the need for federal monitors in the 3 Florida counties. So we can actually read the letter that was there. All right, Florida Department of State, Mr. John Burt Russ, Voting Section, Civil Rights Division. Earlier today, the Florida Department of State received copies of your letters to Miami-Dade and Broward counties in which you seem to indicate that the Department of Justice will send monitors inside polling places in these counties. We also understand you sent a similar letter to Palm Beach County. But the Department of Justice monitors are not permitted inside a polling place under Florida law. Section 102.031 3A of the Florida statute lists the people who may enter the polling room or polling place. Department of Justice personnel are not included on that list. Even if they could qualify as law enforcement under Section 102.031 3A6 of the Florida statutes, absent some evidence concerning the need for federal intrusion or some federal statute that preempts Florida law, the presence of federal law enforcement inside a polling place would be counterproductive and could potentially undermine confidence in the elections. Indeed, your letters do not detail the need for federal monitors in these counties. None of the counties are currently subject to any election-related federal consent decrees. None of the counties have been accused of violating the rights of language or racial minorities or the elderly or disabled. Your letters simply provided non-exhaustive list of federal election statutes as the basis for the statute without pointing to any specific statutory authorization. When asked for specific authorization during our phone call this evening, you did not provide any. Accordingly, the Florida Department of State invokes its authority under Section 105.582 of the Florida statutes to send its own monitors to the 3 targeted jurisdictions. These monitors will ensure there is no interference with the voting process. If you have my cell phone number, please let me know how to best coordinate with your team as Florida works towards another smooth election day. Yeah. I'm saying, you ain't gonna push us around and tell us what you are and are not going to do. No. We are going to use our state rights and say, this is what we are not going to do. And this is what we will do. Anyway, I mean, it's polite and firm. Cites the law as they understand it and as they interpret it. Oh gosh. And the rest of the article just summarizes up that letter. The DOJ declined comment. Did they really not think that there wasn't going to be any pushback? They really thought that DeSantis government was just going to be like, whatever. Okay, well, that is going to be all for now, my friends. because some of us, gotta do things like work. So, yeah. All right. You all have a wonderful day. And if you, at this point, still do not know where your election place is at, then you know what? At this point, you probably just do not deserve to vote. Hey, Roaches in the cabinet. Sorry I missed you. I'm actually getting ready to call it a day because I gotta go get ready for work. But of course, this will be available for you to watch out. Good. I am glad that you voted. If you haven't, I'm assuming you have liked and subscribed to. You're over there actually on Twitch. So thank you for joining me on Twitch. Thanks for viewing, and of course, Roaches. If you wanted to restream any of this at some point, apparently I screwed up my sound a couple of times there because I was eating a sandwich, so I was trying to not force everybody to watch me eat my sandwich from Mrs. Pickles, but you can restream it and you can make fun of me for that. All right. Hi, Oddball. This will be available for you to rewatch shortly. Yeah. Always remember, this is you. Tiny little thing. Wait, I gotta make myself big for this. What am I doing? I gotta make myself big for this. This might be you. This might be all of us, and this might be the universe. But it takes a lot of this to fill this and make the universe what it is that we want it to be. So, no matter who you are, where you are valued and you are needed. And you have a place and you have value in this universe. And keep on going on until next time. Thank you for joining us, and you have a wonderful evening. Bye.